I have a lot of interaction with police officers, and police officers act like their balls won't fit in their pants. And this kind of bothers me. And the reason this bothers me is you hear people say all the time, police officers aren't paid enough. Well, police officers are civil servants. That means they work for the people. They are bought and paid for by the people. This country was founded by the people for the people. That is the concept of this country. So as a civil servant, why should you be expected to be paid more than the community you serve?
And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for being here. We do so appreciate it. If I can once again remind you, if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button and leave us a review or a comment. But thank you for being here. Lynn, what do you got for us this week?
Well, Vinny, how you doing this week?
I'm doing good, my friend. How about you?
I'm doing well. Well, Vinny, I tell you, I've been thinking this week, and there's several stories that just been boiling on my mind that I've been looking forward to talking about. But I'll tell you one. I called the police. This has been a couple of years ago, and this story it's not a really big story, but what really got to me is police officers. I had some things stolen, and I called the police out to make a report on these stolen items. And when I did, the police officers showed up. You know, I've always been for the police. I always thought the police did a wonderful job. Thought they had a hard job.
Oh, yeah.
You know, always supported the police. Well, the police showed up, and when those two police officers got out of the car, I extended my hand in gratitude to shake their hand, and he wouldn't shake my hand. He just stood there.
Really?
And this got me to thinking. It was kind of irritating, and he wouldn't even say nothing, wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't say what, he's just like, what do you need? And I'm thinking, wow, man, this is kind of a jerk. You know, he's for the people, by the people. We pay for him.
Yeah.
And I have property stolen, and his job is to serve me.
Yeah.
He don't have to be an a-hole.
Yeah. You pulled him off his donut break, man, or something.
Obviously.
His lunch.
And this was not during COVID. This was actually before COVID, so it wasn't like they were any kind of we didn't go through that social distancing or anything. That didn't even thought of at the time.
Right.
So he was just being a jerk. And so I've been thinking about this recently, because you see all these things on TV about defund the police and all these stories. You don't see the good stories about police, you see the bad stories about police. So I've been thinking about this pretty heavily lately. And I have a lot of interaction with police officers, and police officers act like their balls won't fit in their pants. And this kind of bothers me. And the reason this bothers me is you hear people say all the time, police officers aren't paid enough. Well, I put a lot of thought into this. Police officers are civil servants. That means they work for the people. They are bought and paid for by the people. This country was founded by the people for the people. That is the concept of this country. So as a civil servant, why should you be expected to be paid more than the community you serve? as a police officer or a politician or any other civil servant, should you make more than the community you serve?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You see what I'm saying? So if the median salary of the community you serve is $100,000 as a civil servant, should you make more than that?
They do get shot at, I mean,
Okay, good
just
question. Good point.
just being devil's advocate here. I mean, their job is dangerous. Now, I'm not saying they should be making, more than
Who made them take that job?
yeah, yeah, that's true.
Who chose for them to
I
take
mean,
that job?
to quote Doug Stanhope, they signed on for that shit. That's why they, but that's a tough one, buddy.
And I agree with you. Now, here's the flip side to that coin.
Yeah,
I've done some research.
yeah,
The Supreme Court has ruled that a police officer's job is not to serve and protect.
really.
The Supreme Court has ruled that a police officer's job is to investigate a crime after it happened.
Right.
A police officer's job only has to protect a person in custody.
Really?
So if Vinnie Coppola gets arrested and he's in the back of a police car, that is the only time that they have to protect you. So if Vinnie Coppola's on the street getting shot at, a police officer does not have to intervene. They can watch Vinnie Coppola get shot and killed, and then after he's laying there dead with a white sheet over him, they can investigate. That is their job.
So that was the Supreme Court decision of a police officer's duties.
That's the Supreme Court's ruling of a police officer's duty.
So to answer your question, no, they shouldn't get paid more than the community they're protecting. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, if they're not going to put themselves out there, if they're not going to go the extra mile, if they're just going to sit back and go, okay, he's dead. Let's go look and see if we can find any clues,
Now, that's not to say that they don't put themselves out there, because I would say that a majority of them do put themselves out there.
Of course.
But some of them don't. Just like the police officer down in Florida who stood and watched the children get massacred at the school shooting.
Yeah, and they gave him a lot of crap for not going in there and doing something.
Exactly.
And he was outside going, that's not my job.
And he was correct.
And he was correct, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn around here and I'm going to look at my computer. The Supreme Court has ruled it's called no duty to protect. Deshawn versus Winnebago County, 1989. Deshawn, Deshaney, Deshaney versus Winnebago County, 1989. Supreme Court ruled that no duty to protect. A police officer only has to protect someone in their custody. So if you're in handcuffs, they have to protect you. If you're not in handcuffs and you're not in their custody, they don't have to protect you.
See, when you say something like that, it really comes off as the criminals have more rights than the citizens.
Yes. Or the police officers have more rights. Now, let's take it a step further. When a police officer is investigating the crime after Vinnie Coppola has been shot, they can lie to anybody they want and do whatever they want to do to get you to confess to a crime.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Frazier versus Cupp, 1969.
1969.
Yeah. They can use any deceptive tactic they want to get you to confess to a crime.
Is that why they read you the Miranda rights at the beginning so that you don't have to answer any questions? You don't even have to talk to them.
Well, that's a different story. That you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to incriminate yourself. You don't have to say you have the right to remain silent.
I know it sounds kind of like a disclaimer is what I'm saying
Yeah.
is they're telling you, by the way, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to this. You have the right to that. Now they start berating you with these questions and these tactics to get you to confess, and then here you go, spouting out all this crap, but their butt's covered because they read you the rights. They read you the rights. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It kind of sounds like a disclaimer.
It is a disclaimer
to allow that ruling. They can use any deceptive means or lies to get you to confess. It's kind of a hustle, man.
it is a hustle.
It's kind of they're pulling some crap. Makes me a little depressed, really.
Well, I tell people all the time. People say, "Well, what do you think my chances are of winning this case?" I say, "Well, how good's your chess player? Because it's a chess match. It really is a chess match. Watch these crime shows, and you see some of these criminals that really know how to work the system, and they get away with murder. I'll give you an example. In the news today, the little short guy from Different Strokes that fell,
Gary
Coleman. It came out today that his wife failed a lie detector test.
I saw something about her taking a lie detector test. Yeah.
Yes. They say that Gary Coleman's wife may have pushed him or something that they don't know for sure, but they say there's definitely questions that needs to be answered because she was very deceptive in her lie detector test.
Well, why is this coming out now, all these years later?
Because she was on some TV show, Answer the Lie Detector or something, some TV show that they're doing, and she went on it and failed the lie detector. So she was very deceptive, they said.
So she did it to herself. Well, let me go make a couple of bucks on this TV show. Why didn't she go on Dancing with the Stars?
I don't know. Why anything?
Why did she have to go on a lie detector friggin' show?
Maybe they offered more money.
Oh my God. She's got to be sitting in a jail cell going, why didn't I just do America's Worst Chefs or something?
Well, they I guess, murder has no statute.
Right.
So maybe they'll reopen the case. I don't know. Yeah. Lie detectors are not admissible in court, but I would imagine that they could.
It would give you probable cause to open an investigation.
Well, I would imagine that it would give a detective a reason to reopen the case and look into it.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
I guess it would be very hard to prove because it was just him and her at the house when he supposedly fell. How do you prove that anything happened other than him falling?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you show that? I mean, how do you prove it unless she admits to it or somebody comes forth, or unless she confesses to it? I mean, I guess there's really no way. I mean,
well, there was, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm sure I've heard something about him, Gary Coleman, being abusive to her. Or do I have that wrong? Was it the other way around? She was abusing him.
I think she was abusing him.
Well, I mean, if she's pushing him down the stairs, yeah, or maybe she's like, well, I've had enough of getting beat up by you, sir. Boom, down the stairs.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a I heard it was an abusive relationship, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Wow.
one.
I got to tell you, man, you know what? See, I don't know. Maybe she's got nothing to hide, and that's why she went on the show. Oh, I just failed the test. Well, I failed the test. What do you want from me? Why would I do this show if I really killed the dude? You
That's
know?
a good defense.
Yeah.
But Vinny, working in this industry
Yeah.
for as many years as I have
Yeah.
seen crazier things. Listen, I was sitting in on some Zoom court meetings today,
Yeah.
and I seen a very funny um, bit, and I have to tell you,
Okay.
um, it was an interaction with the judge. The judge tells this woman, says it's a woman and her mother had a spat, and the daughter was like 19 years old, and she had physically attacked the mother, and the daughter got arrested, and the daughter's in court, and the daughter's having trial Zoom from jail, and the judge is in her chambers, and the judge, they're setting bond, and the judge, they're going back and forth, and they're determining how much the bond is. And the judge says, "Okay, mom, do you want to say anything?" And the mom comes on the Zoom and she says, "I just want my daughter to come home." And the mom's crying. And the mom says to the daughter, says, "Well, the attorney for the daughter says, well, the daughter can go live with the grandmother." And the judge says, "Daughter, do you want to go live with your mother?" And she goes, "No, I don't think so." And the judge goes, "Well, I need a definitive answer." And she says, "No, I don't know what. No, I don't want to." And the judge goes, "Well, that's a double negative." And she says, "That's a double." She said, and the daughter says, and I quote, "Yes, Your Honor, that's a double no." She had
Oh,
no idea. She had no idea what dope. What a,
negative. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was hilarious, and
Yeah.
and all the people sitting behind her,
Yeah.
waiting their turn,
Yeah.
just fell out laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the judge turned her head sideways. And
Yeah.
you could see the
Yeah.
smile come up on her face.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Vinny, it was just like when the judge says,
Sounds like a sitcom.
exactly, when the judge says, the judge says, "Well, that's a double negative." And without missing a beat, and the daughter never, I mean, just as serious as she could be, says, "Yes, yeah." And she didn't say, "Your Honor." She goes, "Yes, ma'am, that's a double no."
Yeah.
I mean, just that quick.
That's a double no. I'm going to remember that one. That's a good one. Yeah. You said it, Judge. Yeah. That's a good one.
And it was in that Southern twang.
Yeah.
And it was just, oh my God. Vinny, you couldn't write it.
Yeah.
You couldn't, you can't make this up.
No, that's great. I'm remembering that one. Yeah.
But anyway, back to the topic at hand here. But so I think about this stuff a lot because I have a lot of time to think. I drive a lot. I'm by myself in the car a lot. I'm sitting in court a lot, waiting. So you have a lot of time. When you sit in court, you can't have your phone out. You can't talk. You got to be quiet. So you have a lot of time to think. So you think about these things. And you think about these things because you're dealing with them on a regular basis. And you're dealing with these police officers who you give them a gun and a badge, and they get this attitude, and they feel that they're bigger than the world. I had a dealing with a woman, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. She worked for a very local police department right here, very close. I show up at about 4:30, 4:45 one day. She gets off work at 5:00 to get some documents on a case I'm working on. And I asked her, we got to talking, and she said, I said, what do you feel about these police officers? She goes, "Let me tell you." She says, "These guys come in here and they're the most wholesome people in the world." She said, "They get a job as a police officer. I asked her, what brought this up is I asked her if she would date a police officer. I said, are you married to a police officer? She said, hell no.
Yeah.
She said, these guys come in here. They're the most wholesome people in the world. She said, they get a job as a police officer. And she said, about 6 months in, she said they would smack their own mother. She said, I have never seen them beaten all my life. She said, they're the most disgusting people I've ever met after about 6 months. She said, I hate them with a passion.
All of them?
All of them. She said, they're disgusting. She said, I won't even go out and have a drink with them. She said they're disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said honestly, she said they would smack their own mother after about 6 months of having a gun and a badge.
Yeah, because they get that feeling of entitlement.
They got that feeling of entitlement.
Yeah, it goes to their head.
It goes to their head.
Yeah. What's that Southern term? They're smelling their own. I can't remember. James used to say it a lot. Hey, once again, just playing devil's advocate here. I hear something like this, and my first thought is yeah, they feel the entitlement. They get bigger than their britches, as they say, and they turn into jerks. And then there's another part of me that goes, oh, wait a minute, man. Maybe she dated one, and she kind of got screwed over by him, and now when she says all of them stink and all of them stink, she's talking about one dude.
Could be.
Because that's how people are. Now, if I was going to bet on this, if this was a line in Vegas, I would bet on the entitlement side. They get the badge and the gun, and they get the feeling of superiority, and they feel like they own the world. I would bet on that side. But there's that little part of me that goes, hey, well, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we both know Ken.
Oh, yeah.
I've known Ken for the better part of 25 years.
Yeah.
And I have never seen Ken act like that.
Yeah.
I have never, ever seen Ken act like anything other than just the most humble person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When Ken was on the force, if I ever met Ken out of uniform, you would never know that Ken was a police officer. He didn't act like it. He didn't talk like it.
Yeah.
He didn't show his badge. He didn't boast about it. And I met Ken a lot of times around the city that he was a police officer in. And he never, I met Ken a lot of times. He and I would met and exchange information when he was doing security jobs. Yeah. And Ken was just the most down to earth person you ever met. And even when I met him in uniform, he never had that chip on his shoulder. He was always a humble person. Ken never had that attitude. Ken was just one of those people. So would I say that all police officers act that way? No, because I do know Ken. Right. Now, I have a family member who tried to be a police officer and had that attitude before he ever got there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So so how do you?
Right. Yeah. There's no way. I mean, I don't doubt for a minute that there's, bad apples in the police department. We've all seen the stories, but I know also that there's some good apples in there that really joined the force to help, that really joined the force to serve and to protect and to make the community better, Well,
I got a buddy that's on a local police force here now that I see quite regularly. And he's the most humble person you'll ever meet. He doesn't have that chip on his shoulder. He's a very down to earth person, and he'll joke with you about it. And even when he's in uniform, he'll joke with you about it. And he is just the most. He's kind of like Ken. He's just a very down to earth person. And, he's just a very good, wholesome person. And if you went to him today and told him you needed to borrow money, he would give you his last dime. He'd give you the shirt off his back.
Sure.
He's just one of those people. And he keeps out of his own pocket. He keeps stuffed animals and clothing for kids in his car. He doesn't ask you to donate for him to do that. He keeps that for himself.
Wow.
So he's just a good person.
Yeah.
And he would do anything in the world for you. If I called him right now and asked him to come and help me do anything, he'd help me do it. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
And I do believe that he is a police officer because he does it because he likes to help other people.
Yeah.
So, there is those people out there. Now, back to the thing we talked about earlier. Do I think they are underpaid? I do. I do believe they're underpaid. Do I think that they should be made wealthy? No, but I do believe they're underpaid.
Yeah. A lot of them get wealthy. There's not a lot of them, but there are some of them that get wealthy in that job, and that's by being dirty.
Well, sure. There are some of them that are dirty, and there's some of them that are bad. And I have had interactions with police officers that do the right thing, and I've had the interactions with police officers that do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I've had interactions with police officers who I think that they should have made an arrest, but I think they overcharged the person. I think they could have charged the person with a lesser crime than they did. And still made their point.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just so that they can beat their chest and show you who was boss.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're a bad police officer? No, that just means that they was just, showing you that they were, who they were.
Yeah.
Do I think they have a hard job? Yes, I think they have a very hard job because I think most of the public treats them rough.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm never going to mouth off to a police officer because I think their day's hard enough.
Yep.
I'll offer to buy them food if I'm in a restaurant and they come in because I think they deserve it.
Oh yeah, I would too, buddy. And and I saw James do it countless times. We'd be in a restaurant, we'd be having lunch. There'd be a couple of police officers in uniform having their lunch, and he would tell the waitress, he goes, "Bring me their check."
Yeah,
and he would buy their lunch. I've seen it many, many times. James had a lot of respect, a lot of love for the police. I see the stories about the bad eggs and all that stuff, and it depresses me. But I try my best to be positive and give them the benefit of the doubt. Like when I'm dealing with a police officer, which is very rare, unless I'm getting pulled over for speeding or something like that. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm respectful, very nice, and I don't give them a hard time.
Well, remember this, Vinny. The news will only bring you the bad.
That's true.
And for the few stories that you see that are bad, there's probably, I don't know, 1 million police officers out there.
Yeah.
And for the few stories that you see that are bad, there's probably 1 million police officers. So you're probably seeing less than 1% of bad. You never see the good. So you're probably seeing less than 1% of bad versus the good.
Yeah. You don't hear about the guy who ran into the burning building and saved puppies at a shelter,
or the guy who
you don't hear about that guy. Yeah.
Or the guy who got, 40 stitches in his arm, busting out a window to save a baby in a burning car.
Exactly. You don't hear those stories.
Yeah. They don't tell you those stories.
You hear about the cop that, shot a guy for mouthing off or some kind of crazy stuff or whatever.
Exactly. You don't hear about the good stories. You don't hear about the cop that took the bullet to save a life. You
And
don't hear
while
about those guys.
and while that while that sells more advertising, that makes more advertising dollars. The bad stuff, the what is it? The result is that people get a negative outlook. They get all they're hearing are these negative stories.
Are these negative stories? Yep.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
In all, there is much more better cops because the numbers are so much bigger and you hear all the negative stories. And sometimes you hear negative stories that shouldn't be negative stories.
Right.
The press just makes them negative stories when they shouldn't be negative stories.
Oh yeah.
They spin them and they pit the public against the police when it shouldn't be. There's a lot of negative press when there shouldn't be. A lot of stories, a lot of things that shouldn't be. But there's because take Ken for example. Take my other buddy. I'm not going to mention his name. Because I haven't. He didn't. I've never asked him if I can mention his name, but I'm not going to mention his name. But he's a wonderful man. He's a family man. He takes care of his family. I personally know that he has helped many people that I know and just give them money and never ask for it back. I know that he keeps things in his car that if he has interactions with kids that he gives them to help them. I know that for a fact. But I also do know that I have ran into many police officers, especially in the Atlanta and surrounding counties and the city that I live in and the surrounding areas that do have attitudes and don't treat the citizens. They may not be bad police officers. They may be the best police officers in the world, and they may run into a burning building to save a kitty cat. I don't know. But they don't need to treat the people that they interact with. The police officer that wouldn't shake my hand, he may be the best police officer in the world, but it was unnecessary for him to not. He may have a phobia of germs, but he didn't need to be such a dick about it.
Right.
He could have just said, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm a germaphobe." He could have said anything.
Right.
He didn't need to act the way he acted.
Yeah. I guarantee you, he was in the middle of lunch when he got that call, and he was the only car in the area, and he had to take the call.
That's probably a good bet, Vinny. Probably a really good bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there were no need for him to act that way. And his partner, and I didn't even offer to shake his partner's hand because I didn't even want to deal with it.
Right.
And his partner just kind of looked at me and shrugged, so I just said, yeah, whatever. I said, okay, here's the things they stole. And, never heard of it again. They just made a police report. There was never an investigation. It was never assigned to a detective because they really didn't care.
Right.
But, it was in a county where there was a lot of stuff where theft was high. And I understand, I didn't even claim it on the insurance, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, this cop, he's probably been around. He probably knows. This is pointless. none of these things get recovered. I was eating my Big Mac, and here I am now talking to this guy, blah, 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 blah. But he also has to know that you have to report it stolen on some wild chance that it gets recovered. There's a record of it. Oh, this guy reported that this was stolen. This guy reported that this was something. So this guy doesn't have to be a douche, even though you interrupted his lunch. He does.
Well,
but understand that there's a procedure. You know what I'm saying, right?
Well, not only that, Vinny, but here's the flip side of the whole thing. If you don't like your job, quit. Go find a job you like.
Exactly.
If you don't like dealing with the public, quit.
Right. You're in the wrong position, pal. Yeah.
That would be like you saying, well, I hate going up and speaking in front of crowds.
Yeah.
Well, Vinny, that's your job. You're a comedian.
Yeah.
I don't like going on camera. Well, Vinny, you're an actor.
Yeah.
How are you going to go on? How are you going to do movies if you don't like going on camera, Vinny?
Right.
Yeah.
I
do have to say that I have been a private investigator. I've worked in the legal field for 30 years, and I love my job.
Yeah.
I get excited when my phone rings.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I love everything about the industry I've chosen.
And when I win a case, I talk about it. That's why I'm on here with you.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love winning cases.
Yeah, heck yeah. I love hearing about you winning cases.
I don't come on here to tell you about the cases I lost.
All right. Well, I'm sure they'd love it. They'd love to hear them. It'd certainly be funny.
I'll come up with a couple I've lost.
Okay.
I'll tell you about some we lost in court. I'll come up with a few.
Okay.
But we have a couple we've lost in court. Well, there's more than a couple, but and there's some that I've had the evidence just on the tip of my fingers. And I just can't get a hold of them. Just can't get them. I can't get them. Just can't. I mean, it's right there. I can see it. I just can't get them.
Right.
I'm working on a case now where I'm trying to find a homeless guy, and I can see him. They keep telling me that he's over there and he's over there, and they know where he's at. I just can't. I just can't ever catch him. It's just like okay.
Is he purposely evading you?
I don't know that he knows I'm looking for him, to be honest with you. I don't know that anybody's told him that I'm looking for him, but
how is this? I mean, this homeless guy is really he's really wired in if he has some kind of idea that there's a guy after him.
Well, I have went to all of the locations where that he hangs out, and I've told the people. I mean, I know his name. I've got a picture of him. I've taken him off of the body cam of a police officer. Got a still picture of him off the body cam, and I know where his local hangouts are. But they typically hang out in the same area. But the incident that happened that I'm looking for him at, and we'll talk about that case when it's over.
Okay.
But it's a crazy case, but the incident happened, and then he happened about 8 or 10 months ago. So he's moved on, and I just haven't got the location he's currently at. But I will get him. I'll find him. Matter of fact, I'll be out beating the streets tomorrow, trying to find that location again.
Okay.
And we'll get it nailed down. I've got pictures printed up, and I'm going to post around with my phone number, with his picture and my phone number, and tell him to call me. So hopefully we can get him to call me. But I'll tell you about the case. It's a crazy case. We'll talk about it.
All right.
It's more stuff that you just can't make up. You couldn't even. You couldn't write a movie and make this stuff up.
Right. That's why That's why this is so much fun for me, man. I mean, real life is, many times a lot funner than,
It,
what is it? Fiction.
well,
No,
people
nonfiction. Nonfiction.
people who write
No,
movies,
no, no. Fiction. Fiction is the false one. I always get those two screwed up.
people who write movies
Yeah.
have to be experienced
Yeah.
in life because you can't. I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't watch a lot of movies, but Reservoir Dogs is one that I've watched a lot, or not a lot. I've watched it a couple times, and um, the one with Quentin Tarantino. What is that one? Um, the one with
You just
Elton.
said
Not
it. You just said it.
uh,
Reservoir Dog.
is that Reservoir Dogs with um,
Quentin Tarantino's first movie. Yeah.
is
The
that
first one he directed. Yeah.
is was he in that with
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson and
No. That's Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah. Pulp Fiction is with Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah.
You know, those two movies, he has to have some kind of experience to write a movie like that.
Well, he is a movie freakazoid. Just he loved movies. He worked in a video store just to be able to have movies around him and talk about movies and discuss movies. And the guy that was with him, that worked with him, was the same type of guy who loved movies, and they would just sit there and just talk about movies, watch movies, and you know that is another way
To
to
gain
gain
that experience,
that experience. Yeah,
that knowledge. Yeah,
yeah, he's like an encyclopedia of movies, and yeah.
yeah.
But no, I agree with you. Matter of fact, to support your point, I started doing stand up when I was 20 years old. 20 years old. Okay. I wasn't even, I couldn't even drink in the bar I was performing at, you know? Matter of fact, one of my first jokes was I would walk upstage, I would look around and goes, any cops here? Any cops? And then I drink a beer, like that. But anyway, 20 years old. And I remember telling my dad, yeah, Dad, I'm doing stand-up comedy now. There's this open mic. And every Thursday I go down there and I do stand-up comedy. My dad goes, Vinny, you're 20. He goes, you haven't lived. What can you joke about? And at the time I was very insulted.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what do you know, Dad? But all my material at the time was just about like masturbation and
The things you knew about.
things I knew about,
Yeah.
and my stupid job as a waiter at the time, So you're right, dude. You have to live. You have to have a certain amount of life experience to have, to write such a great screenplay or whatever, or
Yeah.
be a movie encyclopedia.
Yeah, or something. You have to have that knowledge somehow.
It just doesn't. You can't just sit down and bang it out.
Yeah, because it's unbelievable. The things that I see in this career over my 30 years in this career, the things that I've seen and done, I couldn't imagine them at 25 years old when I started in this industry. I couldn't sit down and make them up.
Right. Yeah.
I just couldn't make them up. I couldn't imagine the things that I would see.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the kid that worked for the bakery company smoking a joint and then bending over and dropping his pen in the mixing bowl and then reaching in to get it and twisting his hand off.
Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't, that's just something that I would have never imagined
Yeah.
to and laws, the way that laws are written. I mean, the people who write these laws are not young people. These are elderly people who's been in business for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
That write these laws.
Yeah.
These are not These are not, young kids that are just getting out of law school that are writing these. And if they are young kids that are just getting out of law school that are writing these, they're very brilliant people.
Right.
Because these are not young kids that are doing this because it takes life experience.
Yeah, for sure.
It takes life experience, because there's some laws that I was introduced to 25 years ago that I look at today and go, I get it. Now I get that law. Now I understand why. I understand. I got the law. I know what the law meant 25 years ago, but now I understand why the law was written the way it was written.
Yeah.
And now there's some laws. I'll give you an example of a law that's very poorly written. The family violence law. If there's family violence, so if your wife calls the law on you and says that you verbally assaulted her in an argument, the state of Georgia says you must go to jail.
Right.
But if your autistic son does the same thing, they must go to jail too.
I didn't know that.
But see, that's a flaw in the law. Why should your mentally ill son have to go to jail? Why shouldn't he go to a mental facility or a hospital? Because he has mental issues.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah.
But that's not the way it goes. He has to go to jail.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That's a flaw in the law. So that was obviously someone with no life experience.
Right.
No life experience at all.
Never encountered an autistic kid, or knew the obstacles and such that go with that. Yeah.
Or no life experience.
Yeah.
Because if they had any life experience at all, that you can't write a law without some kind of leeway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to have some kind of leeway, because what if the family violence? What if you come out and the law is called? I'll give you an example. Right here in Roswell, there was a 16-year-old severely mentally impaired child. The mother was having some difficulties with the child and called the Roswell police. And the Roswell stud, and this is one of the cases that I have actually worked on, the Roswell, and I call him a Roswell stud, and you'll figure it out here in a minute. The Roswell stud comes out and wrestles this 16-year-old female mentally ill child to the ground, slams her to the ground, bruises her up, handcuffs her, bruised her wrist, handcuffing her, bruised her shoulder, bruised her face, slams her in the back of the police car, takes her to the hospital, gets her cleared, takes her to jail. And the kid's doctor, the kid's mental doctor, writes this report to the police department stating that this was uncalled for and unnecessary, that the kid just needed to be taken to the hospital and giving them medicine and just really talking to and talked down because of the child's mental capacity.
Right.
But the police officer, being the big bad stud he was and having the gun and the badge, he had to show his power.
Right. He had to show out. Yeah.
Yeah. Just unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. I'll give you
and
another.
Probably didn't get nothing. Didn't get a slap on the wrist. Probably didn't get nothing.
Didn't get nothing. Because I actually tried to help the mother and actually spoke to the police department with the mother. And I'll give you another example. Down in Hampton, Georgia, somewhere down in there, a man is going through a divorce. Has something happened? I'm not sure. This was on the news. This is not a case I worked on. The police officer shows up. The guy has a gun. He's not pointing it at the police officer. And he's talking crazy. And he's talking and babbling and going on. and the police officer shoots and kills him. And all the police officer had to do was talk to the guy. Yeah. But they cleared the police officer and said, well, the guy had a gun and he was a threat. But he never. But the report says that he never aimed the gun at the police officer.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just talk to the guy?
Yeah.
He just went through. His wife just divorced him. Why didn't you just talk to him? Why didn't you just say, "Hey, buddy, I know it's rough.
Yeah.
There's no need in all this. Why don't you just lay the gun down? Why didn't you just try talking to him?"
Yeah.
You wanted to be a badass and see what it was like to shoot somebody. That's why you shot the man.
Yeah.
Or you were a coward.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah, or he just was like, "Oh God, let me get this over with." I mean, it's several horrible reasons why, instead of doing his job, he just decided to shoot the guy.
I wouldn't have shot the man for nothing, Vinny. I would have talked to the man. I would have still been sitting there talking to him if he wanted to talk 2 days later.
I would have tried to, at least. Yeah.
There was no way on God's green earth I would have ever shot the man. It's just, why? If you're a coward and if you're a coward, hang up your badge and your gun. I know you got your ass whipped all through school, and I know that if you hang up your gun and badge, you're going to get your ass whipped again. Yeah. But if you're a coward, just hang it up.
Yeah, find something else.
If it scares you that bad to be a police officer, yeah, and you have to pull your gun out, Barney.
Yeah.
Just hang it up.
Yeah.
Just hang it up.
Yeah. I agree.
But I'm just not that way. I'm not, that's not who I am, or, I'd have just talked to the man for forever and a day.
Yeah. Sure.
Not that I wouldn't have, not that I would have been afraid to use my weapon, because if it would have come down to me or him, I would have used my weapon. But I just don't think in that situation because when they interviewed his family and stuff, they said he was a real gentleman, and they just said he was depressed and he didn't want a divorce and he was depressed. When you meet somebody like that, and they just said he was sitting there on the floor with his gun,
was it in his hand?
I don't know if it was in his hand or if it was beside him or what, but it was a long gun. So it's not like he could have just lifted his hand. He would have had to, it would have taken him.
I get it. It's I mean, he must have been in such a state of depression that he didn't think, when he saw the police officer, to go, "Hey, it's okay. I got a gun here, but I'm not, because that would be my first reaction. Hey,
or he may have had it to his chin, or I don't know, but
there's that. Yeah,
you could have talked him out of it.
You guys, you're not gonna kill yourself. I'm gonna kill you.
You could have talked him out of it. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
All right. Well, what did we solve here, Lynn? I believe I agree with you about the fact that they're civil servants and that they shouldn't be making more than the money that the community that they are protecting. However, they do deserve more money because their job is dangerous. And piggybacking on the whole civil service thing is so many people go into this position because it doesn't seem like it's very difficult to become a police officer. So they go, yeah, okay, whatever. It's going to be this many weeks of training, this many weeks of an academy, and I get my badge, my gun, and I'm getting a paycheck. Well, you see how many overweight guys are cops. The training can't be that hard, So, you got to weigh the level of service you're getting for, what's being put in,
Yep.
So I agree. They shouldn't be making more than the community they're protecting, but they do deserve more money.
They do. They should make at least they should make the medium salary of the community they're protecting.
100%. And I also agree with you that they're not all bad.
No, I'd say
there's more good than bad, but unfortunately, all you see is the bad. That's all you see on the news is the bad. Here's this jerk. Here's this jerk. Look what this jerk did.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
And you know what, Vinny? I would like to put out there, I would like to have as many good police officers contact us and come on and talk about the good things they've done. I would love
their stories. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yep. I would love to.
Or they can get the good police officers to come on and tell us about the bad police officers, and they don't have to name names, but they can tell us some scathing stories. Yeah, we'll have them on.
I would love to have the good police officers come on and tell the good things that they do, and just to counteract the few bad ones that the media talks about all the time, because they talk about them all the time, and it's a sad thing that they talk about them all the time, and I know they're underpaid, and I think that they should be paid more, and I
agree with you.
And I do think the good ones should report the bad ones. I think the good ones should push the bad ones out.
I do too.
And I think the good ones should break the brotherhood BS to get rid of the bad ones.
Yes. Absolutely. So to be clear, Lynn and I are not anti-cop.
No, we love the police.
Yes, we do. And we invite any police officers listening to this podcast who want to come on and tell us a few of their stories. We would love to have you. Thank you so much for being here. If you do like stand-up comedy and goofy videos, check me out. My website is vinnie.com, www.vinnie.com. All the links to all my social media is there. Check out some funny videos or stand-up comedy. If you need someone surveilled, if you need to serve someone papers, if you need to find somebody, Lynn Lambdin is the best, ladies and gentlemen. His website is
www.lwias.com. That is lwias.com.
And for those of you, just so you know, I know his website. I want Lynn to say it.
And subscribe. When you're listening to the podcast, subscribe. Whatever media outlet you're listening to it on, just subscribe.
Yes, please. We thank you so much for listening. But if you can, click that subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra saucy, leave us a comment or a review. And thank you, Simple Funding, once again for sponsoring this episode. We do appreciate it. Check them out if you have any legal funding needs. This was another fun one, Lynn. We'll see you next week.